Who are some of Wolverine's most powerful multiversal variants from across different versions and depictions over comic lore? Over the years, Wolverine has grown and evolved into one of the most powerful mutants that Marvel has ever depicted, and he has his fair share of incredible stories and variants to pull from. This means that his default form has been augmented on several occasions, and like most other heroes, Wolverine has a collection of incredibly dangerous forms that could eventually be adapted into multiversal variants of the MCU. So come along with us today, and let's talk about some of Logan's most powerful variants, starting with a few notable depictions that are still fairly grounded, and then working our way up to the times when Wolverine attained absolute godhood. Let's begin with the Hydra variant of Wolverine from Earth 1720, which is a version of the character who rose through the ranks of Hydra until he became one of their most fearsome leaders. Genetically speaking, this version of Logan is not all that different from the one that we know and love, but morally, this is a far cry from the mainline Wolverine. On Earth 616, Wolverine is a gruff loner who often gives off the impression that he's a mean individual, but this is actually completely circumstantial. When he's facing his enemies, then yes, Logan is vicious and relentless, but he's continually holding a soft spot in his heart for the X-Men as well as the civilian population, so Logan restrains himself more than he lets others believe that he does. At his core, Logan is not the animal that many believe him to be. But on Earth 1720, he is completely amoral, and he's worse than an animal. He does not have any of the personality traits that make him the safe person for certain people to be around, and he's one of the deadliest versions of Wolverine. This ruthless, relentless Hydra variant will not let anyone stand in his way, even those who he may have once considered to be his allies. So this is one of the cleanest glimpses of what we have of Wolverine as an actual fully fledged villain. If Logan ever cut himself loose and stopped holding back, then this is what he would look like. But what are some of the other variants who are measurably different than this? One of the most fascinating variants comes from the Amalgam comics, where Marvel and DC blended many of their fan favorite characters together. This is where we get the likes of Super Soldier, the Captain America and Superman hybrid, or Doctor Strange Fate, and of course Wolverine. But the individual that Wolverine was hybridized with was none other than the Batman. Logan Wayne was a mutant born into wealth and witnessed his parents be gunned down in an alleyway at the age of 8. As he grew, he underwent the Weapon X procedure, which bonded adamantium to his skeleton and exposed his meta-mutant nature. But he had the same wealth and intellectual capacity as Bruce Wayne Batman did. He was a genius detective and a brilliant inventor who paired his mental prowess with Wolverine's violent combat style, becoming Darkclaw, the fusion of Wolverine and Batman. If Batman had Logan's healing factor, super senses, and adamantium skeleton, then this is exactly what he would look like, making him one of the most dangerous Wolverine variants in all of the multiverse. And if Marvel and DC ever come to proper terms when a crossover is possible, then there may be a reality where these amalgam characters may finally be put on the big screen. Next though, let's go back to Marvel and highlight a character known as Weapon Omega from the Age of Apocalypse universe, otherwise known as Earth 295. After staving off the rule of Apocalypse, Logan came to a wrecked ship, one which he soon discovered belonged to the Celestials, who were there to judge the planet. They were set there to make the determination which would decide if Earth was destined to live on or to die, and so Logan bartered with the Celestials in order to fix the judgment in its favor. He offered his servitude to the Celestials, and with the aid of the Celestial technology, Logan became Weapon Omega, the heir to Apocalypse. This version had his mind twisted by the Celestial technology, and he launched a complete genocide across the planet that actually killed billions of people. No one was safe, not even his former teammates, as they were enslaved or murdered, and Logan reshaped the world in favor of evolution. To this variant of Logan, the only way to save the planet was to eradicate those who had caused the stagnation of evolution. And if the Celestials were to spare the planet, then they would have to show some signs of improvement. And this is how Wolverine aimed to please them. Logan and his Black Legion culled the Earth of all the inferiors, allowing only the docile and cooperative mutants to remain free. But this didn't stop Logan from crushing the rebels and the harbingers of unrest beneath his heel. This is the darkest image of what a reality ruled by Apocalypse would look like, especially a version that is working at the behest of the Celestials' perfect vision. This is a tyrannical force of nature that rises far beyond the default version of Wolverine, and has shown the capacity to eradicate the entire planet should he choose to do so, making him easily one of Logan's most dangerous variants of the multiverse. This Wolverine, however, was aided by Celestial technology, and what happens when Wolverine's default body is piloted by a demon. This version actually comes from Earth 616 and is one of the many misadventures that our main timeline version of Wolverine found himself in, but the storyline in question comes about due to the actions of the Red Right Hand. This organization worked to abduct Wolverine, and with a supernatural incantation, they were able to send his soul down to hell while his body was left intact, ready to become possessed by a demon. All of Wolverine's skills and attributes were left intact, including his healing factor, claws, and super senses. But the demon who possessed him brought its own arsenal of skills and abilities as well. He now had dominion over the fires of hell, as well as several mental abilities such as telekinesis and even mind control, not to mention the fact that his body was now serving the agenda of the demon. This highlights the key aspect of the Hydra Wolverine that we talked about earlier, which is evaluating just how much more dangerous that Logan becomes when he is not shackled by morality, and it actually goes to show just how noble Wolverine is in many mainline universes. When a demon possesses a hero's body, they are usually still limited by the capacity of the body in question, even though they are able to augment it and its default strength. Even though they make a body stronger, they still can't push it too far beyond its limit without completely destroying it. But Wolverine's healing factor meant that this demon could do so much more with him than he could almost any other hero. Logan's body got pushed further and harder than ever before, and with the power of hell at his back, this demonic Hellverine became an absolute force to be reckoned with. But if Wolverine had been possessed by the fires of hell, then is it possible for him to attain godhood in another way? Can we swing the other direction and join the pantheon of the Greek gods? Well, this is exactly what happened on Earth 12025, where we meet what is known as Adamantine Wolverine. It's important to highlight the difference between adamantium and adamantine, which even though they sound familiar, this disparity is what made all the difference with this new Wolverine variant. Adamantium was an attempt by humans to replicate the strongest attributes of vibranium, but it is contained by human effort. Adamantine, however, is the sacred metal of the Olympian gods, sort of like Uru to the gods of Asgard. This is the metal from which Hercules' mace was made, and Logan was able to get his hands on this metal in this universe. As a young man, this version of the character had many adventures with Hercules, and the two eventually even started a relationship with one another, one which led to Hercules gifting Logan a skeleton of adamantine. Adamantium is impressive, and the feats of adamantium are not to be dismissed easily, but this is quite literally the metal of the gods, and it is in a league entirely on its own. This allowed him to fight alongside Hercules against god-level threats, with this version of Wolverine being one of the most powerful mutants from this timeline. While this may be the closest the Wolverine has ever come to real godhood, there is one last variant that we would like to mention, and that is the Phoenix Force Wolverine. On the Earth 14412, the planet has actually been completely eradicated by King Loki, who culled all of humanity just to make his brother Thor suffer. Logan, even with his incredible healing factor, was unable to escape Loki's genocide, and was also killed. Amidst the ashes of Earth, however, he was chosen to be the next host of the Phoenix Force. Because of this variant of Logan is eons old, and has drifted the cosmos battling celestial entities and threats, including fighting the Allfather to the point where the Phoenix Force actively refused to kill Odin, even though it was fully able to do so. While Adamantine Wolverine is impressive, and can fight alongside the likes of gods, this variant who was truly one to ascend to another plane of existence altogether, making him likely one of, if not the most powerful Wolverine. This Wolverine is no longer bound by the laws of mortality, and the Phoenix Force is truly a fuel of immortality that will allow Logan to live as long and grow as powerful as he could possibly imagine. But anyway, friends, what do you think of these variants of Wolverine? And would you like to see any of them jump into the MCU proper? And if so, how would you like to see them adapted? Which of these variants of Wolverine do you believe is the most powerful? And which one would you want to see the most? As always, my friends, Hulk smash that subscribe button for more daily Marvel lore, and have a great day.